and welcome back to Dana Builds. I'm Dana, and today we are going to build a country style sort of farmhouse family home. And I'm in Newcrest, and it's on a 40 by 30 lot. The reason I chose Newcrest is all the lots are empty, and the lighting I find is really good in this particular world. And as usual, I'm building in the summer. Normally when I do my builds, I do build with the season set for summer because all the flowers are beautiful and the trees are full. And it just generally looks a lot better. I've tried the spring, but then what happens is the leaves are not out on the trees and they look kind of barren. So summer's usually when I build. Excuse me. I had thought about doing this as a 2-story house, but I ended up just leaving it as a single story. And I thought about doing like a glassed in portion of the porch there at the back. You can see that little rectangular shape sticking out. And this is where I get rid of the walls because I decided to do it as a wraparound porch style for the front, the one side, and then a portion of the back. And I really like those windows. I like the white windows with the black shutters. I think that's a very classic looking window. And I did like the window boxes that I put underneath, and those are just base game window boxes. So no matter what, if you have no packs, you can still find those and use those if you want to dress up your builds that way too. And I did make some adjustments to the roof. I took this roof off because I wanted to have the, I can't even remember. I'm losing my words today. I can't even remember what that type of roof is called, but a gabled roof, duh. But I did it so that the larger part of the house is the bigger part of the roof. And then we have this thing I was trying to do at the back. I don't know what it was. I do change it because what I end up doing is that big gabled piece that's in the center, I expand it all the way to the back. And then I adjust the length of that one side piece of the house, that rectangular piece that's on the right-hand side. It was a couple of tiles too short. So what I did was, you'll see it right here. Okay, so I expand this and then I pull this out so that it meets. And then that way I didn't have to fuss too much with the roof not fitting. And then I really like the look of windows in the peaks of the gables, because then it looks like it's just not acres and acres of roof, especially if the roofs are a bit taller. And I do like that porthole style, and that's base game. And then I decided for a change of pace, I was going to do a metal roof on this house. And I think it turned out quite nice. And then here I'm doing the porch. Just a plain white stair. And then pillars. These are base game pillars. A lot of this is base game stuff. It's not all completely base game because I did use, I believe I used stuff from the Cats and Dogs pack, the parenting packs, seasons, and then a few other things, but it's not a build where I used every pack that I own. And then I decided I wanted a white house, and this is a bit of a pet peeve that I have. I like the siding that doesn't have that trim on the edge, but you can't get it in white. So I had to use the trim on the edge, because normally what I like to do when I put siding on houses, I like to get the get together column that's square and put that on the edges so that I have a bit more control as to where those edges go. It's not too bad here with the white, but when you have the siding color and that corner piece color don't match, it's very obvious what parts it doesn't hit. So here's me just doing the landscaping. I've decided, this is the third build that I've done where I've done the front landscaping before doing the interior of the house, and I find this works so much better for me because I get that I don't like doing landscaping. To be perfectly honest, it's not my thing. I'm not a fan of it. And I don't know if that comes from living so long in an apartment where landscaping is not an option for me. It might be different if I had a home, like a house where I lived and could, do real life landscaping or something. I mean, I used to like to garden and stuff like that, but so I find doing the landscaping first before I do anything on the interior of the house gets the landscaping done, and it it's almost like I get it done and over with. And I tend to put a little bit more effort into it because I'm not tired of looking at this and being like, I just want to be done now. So my process now is to do the exterior with all the trim and things like that, and then landscaping at the front, interior of the house, and then whatever I do end up doing for the backyard. Because I find I don't mind backyards as much because normally you don't need to be as fancy with the landscaping. I did do a tree and a little bit of some flowers here at the back too, but as you'll see much later in the video, I do quite a bit with the backyard. But right now I'm into the front and trying to figure out the floor plan, which is usually the hardest part for me. A lot of times what ends up happening is I go on Pinterest and I look at different styles of houses just to get some inspiration of what I want to build. And then I'll build the outside to look as similar as I can get it to my reference photo or, what I have in my head based on the inspiration I've seen. But then when it comes time to do the interiors, I have to figure out how to make the interior work with the exterior, especially sometimes when you have house shapes that are like, not a box, because boxes are boring, but sometimes doing the interior makes it a little bit more difficult. So I ended up, this is, I do change things around a little bit here, yeah, because I make those two rooms in the middle there at the back are bathrooms, or they're going to be. And then I decided that I didn't want to divide up that space that's there. That's going to be like a living room with like a desk area because it just made it too choppy. And then I laid down the floors to sort of keep track in my head what rooms were what. And this is going to be a 3-bedroom house. So, excuse me. 2 rooms will have double beds, and 1 room is a child's room with bunk beds, so you can comfortably sleep 6 Sims in this house. And the kitchen is very large. This is the kitchen that I'm doing right now. And then, because again, when I was drawing it, and this is part of the issue that I have sometimes with doing floor plans, is sometimes the rooms end up being huge once you start putting things in it. These cabinets are from the kit, the French country kitchen or whatever it is, the country kitchen kit. That's what that's from. And I decided to use the fridge and stove and sink that came with this pack because I thought it felt like it kind of fit that sort of farmhouse aesthetic that I was going for. And then here I do a half wall just to divide that space because it was just cavernous. So what my plan was, and I think I executed it quite well, was to have an eat-in kitchen because I will put in a round dining table. And then on the other side have an informal sitting area. So there'll be like a couple of couches and a chair just for whatever, for sitting and relaxing and whatnot. These drapes are from Cats and Dogs. I think all the drapes used in this house are from Cats and Dogs because I thought they tied in really well together. And I find Cats and Dogs has that kind of country farmhouse feel as well. A lot of their furniture reminds me of things that, was in my grandma's house. And these cabinets here are from Cats and Dogs as well. And the same with the curtains here, and then the 2 couches and chair that I put in here. And I like these couches. They're sort of very informal. They're like a kind of like a family room type couch, I guess. And I do like the cushions and that on them. And I find you don't get that a lot with a lot of the couches in The Sims. They almost all seem to be either ultra modern or very, very formal. So these are quite nice for like a casual living room. At least that's what I think. And the side tables, the coffee table, that rug, everything is from Pets. The Cats and Dogs, rather. And then lamps are base game. And then just a simple plant. And then I had thought about using the new Dream Home Decorator to do a built-in for the TV, but then I thought, I wanted this house to sort of feel like, it's out in the country maybe. Furniture's kind of like hand-me-down type things, like not shabby or anything like that, but it's kind of stuff that you pick up over the years, like you get one thing from your grandma or whatever, or your parents, how a lot of pieces of furniture end up being in your home because, when you needed something, there was a family member or a friend that gave you, something that they had that they didn't want anymore. So I didn't want to use a lot of modern stuff in here. I wanted to give it sort of an older country vibe. So that's why I've used mostly stuff from Cats and Dogs. This is a Seasons couch, but I changed my mind about it, I believe. So anyway, yeah, I didn't want to go for an ultra modern look in this house. I wanted it to be a bit more eclectic, a little bit more kind of stuff's not completely matchy. An interior designer didn't come in and do this house. The love seats and couches and that coffee table are all from Parenthood. Same with that little magazine rack, which I like. Excuse me. And then almost done with this room. And then I used Tool to make that just a little bit bigger, because when I upsized it just using the bracket keys, it got to be a little bit too big. So a lot of times now when I increase the size of things, I use Tool, because then I can be a little bit more precise about how much of an increase I want. So we move on to the first bathroom. I decided that I didn't, as far as the floors and the paint or wallpaper, whatever you want to call it, in this house, all the rooms are similar. Like the bathrooms have the same wallpaper. The kitchen and all the other rooms in the house have that same shade, that neutral brown shade for the walls, because it made more sense to me. Like if this is an old country house, chances are you painted the whole house when it needed to be painted or whatever. So that's just was my thought process. And I like using a neutral wall color, because then I'm not committed to a certain color for certain rooms and stuff. Although sometimes I've done that in my older, like more Victorian type builds. I definitely go a bit crazy with the wallpaper in vivid colors, because I do like vivid colors. But for something like this, a neutral wall works a lot better. And then this is the ensuite for the master bedroom. And they get a tub and shower combo. And then I just do, these are, they're base game cabinets. So I didn't get too fancy with the bathrooms. Just your basic bathrooms is what I did. Because I didn't want it to be a super ultra modern build. It's just like it's an older house, I guess, is what my thinking was. Okay, so this is the master bedroom. And the bed I used is cats and dogs. Both double beds actually in the bedrooms are cats and dogs. Because I really like those ones. They do have that kind of old country feel to them, like I said. And I love those lamps. I think they go well with a lot of things. But I don't use them that often because they are sort of old-fashioned. But I do like them when I have the opportunity to use them. And I didn't go overboard with clutter or anything in this house like normal. Because as I keep saying, I'm not a clutter bug in my builds. And then this is the second bedroom that has a double bed. I mean, it can be used for a teenager or, a couple of kids or whatever. I don't know. This house will be available to download on the gallery. And however you choose to use them, if you choose to download it, is up to you. So I wanted to kind of make things sort of very non-specific so that it's up to whoever has this house as a build or whatnot to use it as they see fit. So yeah, I believe that's cats and dogs dresser there. That chair for sure is. And it's not even a chair, it's almost a love seat, I guess. And then a carpet is, that's base game carpet. And I think that goes quite well with the purple in the bedspread. And then this is the child's room. And it's just got the bunk beds and then the tent from the new pack in here and a dresser. It's not full of stuff because I found that tent took up a lot of space, but I think that's kind of cute. And I do like the fact that we have bunk beds now. I know they've been around for a while, but it's so much easier to make a room for a couple of kids that doesn't have to be super big because you don't have to put two beds side by side in there. And I could have done the bunk bed so that the bottom bunk was directly underneath the top bunk, but I do like the way it looks when you angle the one out. So that's why I did that. And now we're moving into the backyard, except we got to put some rocking chairs on the porch. And then, I go to the front here and put a bench just for sitting. I didn't do a whole lot. I didn't put a whole lot of stuff on the wraparound porch just because I'm not one of those builders that fills every available space with stuff. This is just not what I do. I did do a little player area because, I figured with the bunk beds. And then I decided to use terrain paint to make it look like the kids actually used it. You know how when, if you go to a park or something, there's always like a path underneath the monkey bars, just from many, many feet going back and forth. And then the same with the swings. So I decided to do that. And then a fence around the backyard with no gate again, because I'm trying to get in that habit so that random Sims don't come and start kicking my garbage cans over. I don't know why they do that. It's annoying. I can't stand it. But every build I do where the backyard is open, they go right for the garbage cans and they start kicking them. So I was just like, forget it. And then this is a little gardening area with our scarecrow. And then I do a little pebble path from the step and then around it, because I wanted to make it look like they just put some stones around where their garden beds are, maybe to keep weeds down or something. And then I had originally intended to do just a barbecue with a picnic table in the back. But then I decided to get fancy, and you'll see here in a second that I build a gazebo with a platform and a glass roof. And then those are the same pillars that I used for the porch because I kind of wanted to tie everything in, and the same with the fence. And then I wanted to put a fence with a gate, but for some reason the gate wouldn't show up. You'll see when I do that here in a minute. Excuse me. So I ended up doing a small step, but then the step didn't match the trim and it was a bit of a pain. But I did eventually figure it out. And you'll see that here with me playing around with it, right? So here's the gate. It doesn't show up. So I'm like, oh, God, maybe I'll just do a step. And then figured out the trim. You can see me playing with that here. But we are now getting very close to the end of the video. And if you've stuck with me for this long, I hope that you, if you haven't subscribed, that you will. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button so that I get some feedback as to what kind of builds you would like to see. I upload videos every Tuesday and Thursdays. And until next time, take care, stay safe, and bye for now.